بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. أصحاب الفضيلة، إخوتي أخواتي، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Amity Foundation, welcome and thank you for being here tonight. We are honored to gather with you, not simply for a dinner, but for a purpose, a responsibility, a calling. A year ago, when crisis struck, millions were displaced, but many still had somewhere to go. Borders were open, institutions responded, and there were options. Can you play the video?
إلى أميتي فاونديشن ما فينا ننساها أبدا كشريك إنساني فاعل إلى جانب بنين دايما قلبا وقالبا، يعني حيث عمل الطرفان معا خلال السنوات الثلاثة الماضية على دعم الأسر الأكثر حاجة والاستجابة للأزمات بمختلف المناطق. فكل التحية لأميتي فاونديشن ولكل الداعمين فعلا على العطاء المستمر.
يعني الجالية بأمريكا اللبنانية وغير الجاليات مش بس لبنانية، على فكرة مختلف الجاليات عم بدعموا أميتي فاونديشن اللي أنا بوجه لها تحية، اللي هي كمان بطلت بس داعم، هي شريك استراتيجي مع بنين. اليوم عم نحكي لهيدي الحرب واللي قبلها نص الحمل تقريبا عندهم. هول الجالية اللي هي أمانتكم عم تتبرعوها لأميتي عم توصل للبنان.
والحلو إنه إجوا
صح؟
اجوا يعني
اجوا تكرموا من الدولة اللبنانية كمان، وهلا موجودين. وهلا على فكرة الليلة ب 23 الشهر عندهم عشاء بميشيغان بديربورن، عاملين تبرع لاهلهم بلبنان. حلو. فبوجه لهم
تحيه لهم طبعا، تحيه لميشيغان لديربورن هايتس. يعني بعرف حتى ديربورن الناس كلها اهلنا موجودين.
عادي بلبنان بتحسي حالك.
A year ago millions were displaced, yet many still had somewhere to go. Borders were open and institutions responded. Today this war is different. Travel to Syria or Iraq is nearly impossible. Some private schools didn't open their doors. People are sleeping on sidewalks and inside their cars. And even more painful, some families from the south returned to unsafe villages, choosing the risk of danger instead of public shelters. At the Amity Foundation, we did not wait. From the first hours of escalation, our emergency response was activated. We opened the doors of 7 shelters in Beirut and supported the medical services in Benin Primary Healthcare Center, assisting nearly 10,000 individuals. We provided blankets, pillows, mattresses, meals, and all the essential supplies. But medical services and shelter are only the beginning. Every single day we must secure meals, drinking water, using water, fuel for electricity, and all the daily necessities, so families can live with dignity, not merely survive. During the last escalation, you stood with us. Your generosity made the difference. You did not hesitate. Today, Lebanon calls on you again. Your donation is not just assistance, it's protection and hope. Stand with Lebanon and its people. Donate now.
So after watching this video, tonight that responsibility continues with you. So on your tables, you do see a card with 2 QR codes. One was the video and the other one is for donations. So please take advantage of that. Lebanon, our people need your help. To begin our program, first, I want to say to all our speakers, to all our guest speakers, I want you to forgive me. I didn't want to make your introduction so long. I wanted this to be important and mainly about the event. So your introduction is not going to be so long, but forgive me, and hopefully we can continue with the program. To begin our program this evening, it is my honor to welcome Lebanon Consul General in Detroit, Brahim Khalil Sharara, with a background in journalism, In years in diplomatic service, he brings both experience and insight to his role. Please join me in welcoming Ibrahim Khalil Sharara with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أولاً بدي أتوجه بالشكر والتحية للأخ حماد الزيات وأميتي على الجهود الجبارة ودعمهم من اليوم الأول اللي بلشنا فيه شغل على موضوع النازحين. وبشكر بهالمناسبة كل المؤسسات اللي شاركوا معنا امبارح بفعالية الدعم اللي كان صار لنا حوالي 10 أيام عم نشتغل عليها بشكل جماعي ليل نهار. القنصلية ومؤسسات الجالية كلها بكل أطيافها ومكوناتها، بقول لهم شكرا كتير على كل جهودكم. كلنا امبارح حكينا عن حرقة قلب على حوالي 1.5 مليون نازح بالشارع وبمراكز الإيواء، ربع الشعب اللبناني. نحن عنا هون جالية كبيرة بطاقاتها بعطاءاتها وبمؤسساتها الناجحة، بس أرجوكم قوتنا هون بوحدتنا، تضافر جهودنا، تضامننا وتكاتفنا. مش المهم إنه نقعد على طاولة وحدة ونحكي، الأهم إنه نشتغل سوا بإيد وحدة وقلب واحد. وبدكم تسمحوا لي يعني بهيدا المجال يعني الفت للفرق بين مؤسسات وتجمعات لمجتمعات أخرى هون بالبلد وبين مؤسساتنا اللي هي ناجحة على صعيد فردي. بس عندي أمل إنه نتكاتف سوا ونشتغل لمصلحة جاليتنا ولمصلحة بلدنا. بالختام، يقول تعالى في محكم كتابه الكريم: واعتصموا بحبل الله ولا تفرقوا. صدق الله العظيم. وهي الآية بظن كلنا حافظيننا وبتمنى أنه نلتزم فيها، لأنه بآية أخرى بيقول: ولا تنازعوا فتفشلوا وتذهب ريحكم. صدق الله العظيم. بالنسبة إلي نجاحي ونجاحنا كلنا كمؤسسات هو إنه نقدر سوا نشتغل بعمل جماعي مشترك لصالح الجالية ولصالح بلدنا. شكرا لكم جميعا وتضلوا بألف خير يا رب.
To continue with the program, got some elected officials that were supposed to sign in as they walked in, starting with Abbas Alawiyi, State Senate candidate, District 2, Hassan Saab, Dearborn Heights City Council, Hassan Ahmad, Dearborn Heights Council Chair, David Turfy, 20th District Judge, Ivana Abraham, Wayne County 3rd Circuit Court, Rashida Talib, Congresswoman, David Kanizek, Haji Imo's friend. Darren Camilleri, State Senator, Sam Beydoun, Wayne County Commissioner, Aaron Burns, State Rep, Sam Salmi, Chief Judge, Dearborn District, Kamal Asawaf, Council President, Ali Nest, Abdullah Hamoud, once again, Imo's friend, Haj Abdullah, Dearborn Mayor, Al Abbas Farhat, guys are clowns, Imo's friend. Best friend. Mo Beydoun, Mayor, Dearborn Heights, Charlene Elder, Judge 3rd Circuit Court, DeRaid Elder, Magistrate, City of Dearborn. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Moving on to our next speaker, I'd like to welcome someone whose work is heart of why we are here tonight. As our co-founder of Amity, she has been instrumental in delivering real support and relief on the ground. Please help me welcome Danielle El-Ziyat with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. Respected scholars, guests, elected officials, welcome. So, recently I lost my father, and I was thinking of all of the children in Lebanon who didn't get to grow up with a father and weren't as blessed as I am to have a father for 51 years of my life. Some children are 5, 2, 6 months and don't even get to meet their father. These are the people that we're trying to help. So I couldn't help, in the perspective of a child, to write a letter to all of you today. This is from a little girl, Layla. My name is Layla. I don't know how old I am exactly, maybe 9, maybe 10. Mama used to remember, but lately she forgets things, not because she wants to, just because there's too much to carry in her heart right now. I'm from the South. I'm from the Jnub. Baba used to say it with pride, like he meant it, something strong and beautiful. He would tell me about our land, about the olive trees, about our neighbors who felt like family. I used to have a home there. It wasn't big, but it was ours. I wish I could complain about my small room again. I don't even have a room now. Now we sleep wherever we can, sometimes in a crowded shelter, sometimes in a tent, sometimes outside. Sometimes I pretend that the sky is my ceiling and the stars are little lights just for me. But it still gets cold. At night, I hear sounds that don't let me sleep, loud ones, scary ones. I try to be brave for my little brother, and I tell him stories so he doesn't cry, even when I want to. I miss normal things. I miss having shoes that fit. I miss warm boots. I miss feeling safe. I miss the things that I used to play with that I had to leave behind. But the hardest thing is watching my parents try to smile when I know that they are breaking inside. Mama told me something the other day. She said there are people from the Jnub, our people, living in a faraway country called America. She said there's a whole community there, families who left but never forgot where they came from. And I thought, if you're from where I'm from, if you carry the same stories that I carry, and if you are kind enough to help a child like me, a child of war, a child of circumstance, then you couldn't possibly ever forget me, because I am yours too. I am you. I try to imagine you. Do you have homes like the ones we lost? Do your children sleep without fear? Do you still remember us? One day someone came. They brought food, they brought blankets, they brought toys. And I remember holding something small, a doll. It wasn't new, but to me, it felt like everything. For the first time in a long time, I saw my mom cry. Not from sadness, but from relief. That's when I understood you didn't forget us. You who are far away, you still see us. You still care about the children. You care about Lebanon. You care about the Jnub. You might not know my name. You might not ever meet me. But because of you, I get to eat. Because of you, my brother sleeps warmer. Because of you, we feel like we still matter. I don't understand why this is happening. I don't understand war. And I don't understand why it has to be this way. But I do understand kindness. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for remembering where you came from. Thank you for remembering us. Thank you for seeing me, even from far away. Thank you for giving, even when you don't have to. If you could see us, really see us, you would know that your help is not small, it is everything. Maybe one day I'll have a home again. Maybe one day I can go back to school. Maybe one day I'll grow up and come find you and leave here just as you did and tell you thank you in person. Until then, please don't forget me. And if you're wondering tonight what difference I can really make, you can be the reason a child like me eats tomorrow. You can be the reason my brother sleeps warmer tonight. You can be the reason my mother smiles again. For you, it may feel like a small act, but for us, it's everything. Thank you.
Whew, how do you follow that? At this moment, why don't we take a minute and read the Fatiha on her marhum, her father, her mom, and amwatna al-jami'an. Thank you, Danielle, for your leadership and for reminding us what organized compassion looks like in action. Our next speaker, my friend, not my brother's friend, but my friend, is someone who represents service, community, and commitment at the local level, a proud leader of Dearborn Heights who understands the importance of standing up for humanity, both at home and abroad. It is my pleasure to welcome the new mayor of Dearborn Heights, Mo Beydoun. بعد الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamu alaikum. I mean, this one's hard to come up after listening to the story from Layla that she wrote over to us. But one more round of applause to Danielle. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. Usually I get up here, I make a few jokes, but she left me with none. So I'm going to jump right into our speech that we have written here today. Thank you all for being here as well. It doesn't go unnoticed. Each and every single one of you here today. Danielle has literally left me with a heavy heart, and she got me. So that was great. Thank you all for being here tonight. Your presence truly matters. Tonight, we are not gathered for headlines or politics. We are here for people, for families, for countless lives that have been turned upside down. We are here for the thousands of Lebanese who have been martyred. I ask that we recite Surah Al-Fatiha on their behalf. What is happening in Lebanon right now is heartbreaking. Entire neighborhoods forced out. Families leaving their homes with almost nothing. Over 1 million people not knowing when or will they ever be able to return to their homes. Parents trying to protect their children, kids, who not understand why everything around them has changed right overnight. And yet, even in the middle of all of that, what you see is something powerful. You see dignity. I've seen this up close. Most of us have seen this up close. I come from a family, like many of you, what it means to leaving your homes back in Lebanon. And yet, while so many families have the choice to stay in the United States or to choose comfort and safety, something deep pulls them back. It pulls them back every single time, not because it's easy, but because who we are, because who our ancestors are. The word dignity matters. It matters more than people realize. Because when everything is taken from you, dignity is the one thing that you try to hold on to. And it is the one thing that is supporting us all here tonight. And it's more than just giving back aid, but we are giving back the dignity to the people in Lebanon. Because when everything is taken away from you, dignity is the one thing that you try to hold on to. And what we are supporting tonight, it's not just food, it's not just shelter. It is the chance for people to hold on to their dignity in the hardest moments of their lives. And when it is organizations like Amity, and it's organizations like Amity that matter most, because I've seen their work on the ground here and in Lebanon. And with my own eyes, I saw families getting support. I saw children being cared for. I saw people were treated like they were real humans, with stories and pride that continue to strengthen them and not stripping away their dignity. See, organizations like the Amity Foundation, when you want to give out food, we don't tell them to come pick up the food. They orchestrate organizations like during Thanksgiving and saying, if you want a Thanksgiving or families to go on to not be unfed, we say, give us your home addresses. We're going to deliver it. We're not going to make you show up because we know how important your dignity is to you. The Amity is helping out thousands of displaced families right now. Food, basic supplies, safe spaces for children, and direct help to communities that have been hit the hardest. And they are doing this with something that is not always easy to deliver. They're doing it with care, they're doing it with respect, and they're doing it with real commitment to the people they serve. It's easy to send help. It's harder to show up with heart. It's harder to keep showing up again and again to make people feel seen, not forgotten. It is what stood out to me the most. And that is exactly what we are all doing here tonight. Tonight is not about showing families that we see them. Tonight is to let them know that we will not forget them. Events in this room here tonight, each and every single one of you are telling families in Lebanon, we are not going to forget you, and we're going to stand to hold your dignity. This is who we are. We take care of each other. We don't just look away. As the mayor, I carry that belief into work every single day. Leadership is about service. Community does not stop at city limits. And we are at the best when we come together for something bigger other than ourselves. This room represents that. It represents compassion, it represents responsibility, and it represents hope. So tonight, I ask that you give, and you give a little bit more. If you're able to give generously, if you can stretch it just a little bit more, it's a message. It's a message that says, we see you, we stand with you, and that you're not alone. Support this work. Be a part of something making a real difference. Right now, people in Lebanon are displaced, millions of people. And we're asking you guys to please stretch it just a little bit more. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Sorry, your name wasn't on the list, but Magistrate Ali Hamoud, Dearborn District Court. If there's anyone else that walked in that I have not acknowledged, please.
Director Dabaja.
Director Dabaja, who else?
State Rep Ibrahim Ayash.
State Rep Abraham Ayad. Anybody else? Thank you. Moby, thank you so much. Beautiful words. Appreciate you. All right, our next speaker is none other than my brother, the mayor of Dearborn, Haj Abdullah Hamoud, a mayor who has consistently stood with his people, who leads with principle, and who never hesitates to speak up for justice. Please help me welcome, with another loud salawat, ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, Haj Abdullah Hamoud, mayor of Dearborn.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening. I'm gonna first open up by saying often in these events, knowing they're non-religious events, I don't typically invoke religion. You know, with respect to the ulama that are here, people ask for Mayor Hamoud, not Sheikh Hamoud, but I think given the occasion, I think it's okay to delve deep into what I believe is one thing that is certain, and that is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, the question I often get when I'm sitting with my mother and family is, who is going to do something about the events that are unfolding? And I think the reality is the answer is no one. And it's not an answer that we want to give. I'm here to tell you to not put your faith into some global superpower. Don't put your faith in some government entity that's going to come to save the morality of humanity with the events that are unfolding. And we've seen that's been proven to be the case for the last several years with the genocide that's unfolded. Don't have your faith in any of these institutions. The only group of individuals I have faith in are the ones in this room. This community that has stood tall. This community that for the last several years, several decades, going back to the late 80s, when I have newspaper clippings of Hajj Abu Musa Sir'aini alongside my grandfather Marhum marching for the hope of justice for the Palestinian people. And this is a community that's still doing that time and time again. We've held over 200 protests over the last 2 years. Yet nobody has come to save the Palestinian people. And I want you all to be certain that nobody will come to save the Ahl Lebanon in any time soon. It's not going to happen. So where does that leave us? You know, I was on social media, and oftentimes social media is filled with so much poison. We're in an era now where morality has been tossed out to the curbs. Where evil, which was often conducted behind closed doors in halls of power, corruption and evil are now done before the world to see. The genocide has been televised. The death and destruction is happening before our eyes. An 18-month-old boy in Palestine was tortured by the Israeli government with the hopes of getting a confession out of his father, as just reported in the last 48 hours. So this idea that people have the ability to hide behind ignorance, that shield is no longer there for any soul in this entirety of the world. And what does that remind me of? I saw somebody post about how this reminds them of the story of Ashura in the time of Karbala. When the grandson of our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was left with only him and his 70 companions. And Sayyid Ahmad Qazwini is here. And I bring him up to say I listened to his maqtal years ago. And I called him over a series of days, not understanding why the grandson of the Prophet, when he was surrounded, stopped to ask people, do you know who I am in case you do not know who I am? Allow me to give you my lineage before you cross and make a decision that you cannot take back before your Creator. And after he gave them who his lineage was, who his parents were, who his grandfather was, he then asked them, have I done anything to take any of your land? Have I hurt any of your family members? And he asked those questions to a resounding silence. And I asked the Sayyid, I said, why would he do that? In that moment, when you are surrounded with death, with death certainly before you, why were those the questions that came before him? And the Sayyid, due to his wisdom, told me, it says, so when those individuals met their Creator, they could not be veiled by the ignorance that plagued their minds and their hearts. And that's where we are. We're watching Ashura unfold 100 times over again, each and every single day with the events that are unfolding. And the one thing I am certain of is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So today we're here to give to organizations such as Amity, which are doing phenomenal work on the ground. But what does it mean to give? There are those who can give $5 and those who can give 5,000. Those who can give $10 and those who can give 100. And I would wager that those who can give 5 and 10 are giving far more relative to the personal finances than those giving 1,000 and 5,000. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept you and reward you for that. So what does it mean to give? To give means give so that when you stand before your Creator and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepares to ask you, what did you do in the moment when you had an opportunity to give? I do not want you to approach that question with fear, saying, I could have done more, but I didn't. Rather, approach that question with the anticipation of wanting that question to be asked of you on the day of judgment, and knowing that you gave so much that it worsened your financial circumstances in this dunya, knowing that you would be rewarded 10 times for it in your akhirah. That is what it means to give. And no one needs to know what it is that you do give. With that, please recite Surah Mubarakat al-Fatiha. بعد صلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
Thank you, Hajj. Excellent job. want to mention Phil Hall, Fire Chief of Dearborn Heights District, somewhere here. And now we come to a voice of guidance, a voice of faith, a voice that reminds us not only what is happening, but what our responsibility is. A respected scholar, a leader, a pillar in our community, the Imam, Sayyid Hassan al-Kazwini, بعد الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like to ask you a few questions. I'm not being comic. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being real serious, my dear brothers and sisters. How many of you have not slept last night, not due to watching a soap opera, rather due to having nightmares? How many of you? You? You are having nightmare, Hajj? I don't think so. I don't think there's anybody. How many of you have not taken a shower in 2 weeks? Anybody? How many of you have not had a shelter, a house in which you can sleep at for last 2 weeks? None, right? But I tell you, my dear brothers and sisters, there are at least 1 million people right now in Lebanon who have not taken a shower in 2 weeks, who have not slept in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, who have never had a shower, who had never had a shelter in 3 weeks, who sleep in their cars. They search for bathroom to use, they cannot find. 1 million people. They are not aliens from another planet. They are your brothers and sisters who just happen to be living in peace, but Israel came and shattered their peace. We just finished Ramadan, my dear brothers and sisters. And in Ramadan we fast. Have you asked yourself, why do we fast? Why Allah wanted us to fast? He wanted us to fast so we can suffer? No, that's not the reason. I tell you what the reason is for fasting. If there are a group of people who are so hungry, I can tell you about them so you can hear their plight. I can take you one step further and I can show you photos of them so you can see. But if I can take you one step further and make you feel what they feel, you will be more motivated to help when you fast. When we fast, my dear brothers and sisters, Allah didn't want to tell us the story of the poor people, the hungry. He didn't want us to see their plight. He wanted us to feel their plight by being hungry yourself. There are people now in Lebanon who did not have one decent meal in 3 weeks. That's not an exaggeration, my dear brothers and sisters. And you know that very well. And therefore, I want to tell you, as a religious leader, as a sayyid, as a student of Islam, that despite the fact that many people believe that the most sacred act in Islam is worship, I tell you that's wrong. Probably the most sacred act in Islam is to feed a hungry person. When Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam finished building the Kaaba, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commissioned him to build the sacred Kaaba, after finishing his work, he took a seat back and he kept on gazing on the Kaaba with so much jubilation and excitement. Angel Jibreel came down and asked him this question, why are you so jubilant, Ibrahim? And he replied by saying, why not? God had honored me out of all those people, out of millions and probably billions of people. He honored me out of all people to build his house. It is an immense honor. And of course, I will be jubilant. Angel Jibreel told Prophet Ibrahim, Allah says to you, only when you feed a hungry people, feel that jubilant. Only when you clothe a naked, feel that jubilant. Until then, all you did, you put a brick on the top of another brick. So my dear brothers and sisters, as Muslims, as Christians, as people who follow the words of God, as human beings, it is our responsibility tonight not only to talk, but also to act and to help. It will not be a big deal if we have split the bite we eat into two halves, one for myself, one for my brothers and sisters in Lebanon. And I assure you, if we do that, no one will starve. There is abundance of food and ni'mah here. And that is the least we can do for our brothers and sisters in Lebanon. On our turn at the Islamic Institute of America, we decided to give a donation of $10,000 to Amity so they can help the poor. Do what in Lebanon, do whatever you can, and may Allah bless you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Let's give another round of applause to all our guest speakers for doing a terrific job. Tonight you heard the reality, you felt the urgency. Now this is the moment that matters most. On your tables, the QR codes. So please take a moment to open it up, give what you can, give generously, give with intention, because what you give tonight will reach a family directly through Amity in Benin on the ground. So take a couple of minutes to take care of that. There's something I wanted to address. Before we move to dinner, I wanted to acknowledge something important. We know there were concerns about hosting a dinner at a time like this, and those concerns are real, legitimate. But tonight was made possible at a minimal cost because of the people who stepped up and covered the expenses, so that your donations go where they belong, to the people who need it most. This is not a night of luxury, it is a night of purpose. To our sponsors and supporters, you didn't just contribute, you made this mission possible. We are truly grateful. And now, because of that, we can focus on what matters most, and that is making a difference. So thank you all, starting with Biplos Banquet Hall for their incredible generosity in hosting us. This evening came together because of Joe Bazzi's initiative and commitment to this cause. Hashem's Market for the meat, Express Poultry for the chicken, Shem's Bakery for the bread, Papaya Market for the produce, and Shatila Bakery for the sweets. Your support is part of this khair, and we thank you dearly. Another round of applause to them. Where's the young man, Hassan? Are you here, Hassan Salami? Not yet? I want to call this young man. I've seen him when he was growing up and he was a young kid, and he's become a terrific young man, and he's going to give us a beautiful poem that we're going to listen to. بعد الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
I know, I think Hajj hasn't seen me in a while, but alhamdulillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. Respected scholars and guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Sometimes it is said that all we can do for those suffering is pray. And of course, we must pray, and God will give relief to all. But for God to help, we must first do our part, to use our wealth and abilities to serve His cause. And just, if not more importantly, to educate ourselves and everyone we know and can influence as to why this is happening, why people are suffering in the first place, and strive to change the hearts and minds of one person at a time to change this world against the propaganda machine that has allowed these wars to happen in the first place. The reason every person in this room is here today is because they were educated on what is happening and had a heart to act on it. So do not underestimate these 4 tasks: pray, give, educate, strive. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of the most merciful, we begin, the Lord of all people, whether Muslim, Jewish, or Christian. And beyond them, the Lord of all creation. You see, this is not about race, nationality, or religion. Rather, this is about what it means to be human. About looking to see how to support what is right and true, to realize there is no difference between every single member of humanity and you. And if you see the people suffering in a land overseas through clips and scenes, even though you can only see their pain in your palm through these black mirror screens, even though you can only spend moments seeing them before you have to get back to life. Life, for you, invokes a different meaning, as it wasn't cut apart by a knife. It wasn't flipped upside down like the day becoming night, as the night became the day, as the bombs would rain, illuminating as even the sky ignites with sun-like red and orange hues as it becomes engulfed with flames, as shrapnel sprays in your life. In a moment, your home. In a moment, your loved ones. In a moment, are reduced to ash, dirt, and clay. Imagine what it would be like. And they're tense to stay. Imagine it was you sitting with your children when the winds and rains come and your tent begins to sway and water and wind whistle and the chills spike your skin like thistle as your children look up at you with eyes half filled and half empty, with tears, afraid to cry, don't know if you will all live or die, as your children look up at you with eyes half filled and half empty, with tears, afraid to cry. That is if their parents are still alive. Or maybe it's just their relatives or neighbors who survived. Imagine them, your children, looking at you as the means of God's help from the sky as you try to give them security, try to look back at them assuringly and reassuredly, telling them not to worry and life will be beautiful again. That this will all be over soon. And in that very moment, another loud roar of planes, another loud boom, another burning building, another smoke plume, another empty plate, food bin and spoon, another martyred mother, father, brother, and sister gone too soon, another destroyed safe space, another destroyed kitchen, living, and bedroom, another life placed on the streets of struggle and starvation, another life ravaged by devastation. And if their needs will not be taken care of by nations, who will not take care of their food, supplies of sanitation and satiation, then it is upon us to become the ones who give whatever we can for the sake of God's creation. for us as a collective to become the ones, regardless of religious and socio-political affiliations, to take care of humanity who have suffered at the hands of those deserving eternal damnation, who suffer not because of natural disaster, but of man-made causation. We must not allow the people of dignity to ever feel an ounce of degradation when we can give. They must never feel anything but hope and not even think a thought of desperation, for before the Lord of the worlds we will be asked what we did to stop the suffering from this tribulation. For we are being tested too. And what we do today will be our alibi before God, an explanation that the least we did was to use our words to spread the truth of what is happening, provide education, to defend the oppressed who every day must perform another gathering of lamentation, and to use our wealth and give the greatest possible donation to get them the help they need via the Amity Foundation, and all of those seeking to change the equation. The equation the so-called world leaders convinced us is the status quo calculation. That we must wait on governments and so-called world leaders to stop the world's deterioration. They constantly tell us that solving the world's problems are a matter of complexity and complication. It seems there's more than enough money to destroy the world, but not enough for its salvation. So we see that the governments of the world will continue to practice inaction and complicity. So we must change the equation ourselves through collective action, goodwill, and charity. And together, regardless of what they do, we will change the world through amity. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
That was awesome. Beautiful. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. As we begin to close this evening and enjoy dinner, I want to bring us back just for a few moments to why we gathered here tonight. Tonight, we didn't just hear speeches. We are not just going to share a meal. We witnessed a reality where families just like ours are sleeping in cars, on sidewalks, or returning to danger because they have no other choice. But tonight also showed something. It's something else. It showed who we are, a community that responds, a community that gives, a community that does not turn away. Through Amity Foundation and through their partnership with Benin, your generosity is not delayed. It is not filtered. It reaches people directly on the ground where it is needed most. And that is powerful. But the truth is, the need does not end tonight. The shelters still need to stay open. The medicine still needs to be delivered. The food, the water, the electricity, it all continues tomorrow and the day after. So before you leave tonight, I ask one more time, don't walk away from this moment. If you haven't yet, take out your phone, scan the QR code, give what you can, and if you've already given, give again. Or share it, or bring someone else to do in khair. To everyone, because your donation tonight is not just money. It is warmth for a child. It is medicine for a sick. It is dignity for a family. It is hope for a people who refuse to give up. To everyone who made tonight possible, our speakers, our sponsors, our volunteers, and to every single person in this room, thank you. May Allah bless you, protect you, and accept from you. Jazakum Allahum khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.